And that's why I think for many of us, it's very frustrating, because for us, our presupposition is that, well, there has to be truth and falsehood. Clearly there's good and bad. Okay, to this worldview, there isn't. Truth and falsehood, good and bad, are relative to the power figures, the power players, the magi, the magus, the wizard, the sorcerer, and his ability to convince and enforce that will upon everyone else. And that is why all the people in modern so-called leftism, whatever that is, just postmodernism, that's why it's all about power dynamics. That's all they care about. And they don't care about that you call them out for lying. There's nothing wrong with lying. Lying is a means to an end. It's a means to power. They don't care that you're a crusader for the truth. There is no truth. Truth is whatever the power structure dictates. That's what they believe. And that's their modus operandi. That's how they operate. That's how they live. Now, it's completely self-destructive. It's completely suicidal. It's completely crazy. But that's their operating system. And so when you try to combat that with, let's put it this way, if you don't go to the presuppositional root of the problem, you are never going to address the operating system, the root of of what they're doing, and they're just going to keep doing it. And this is why, like, the pro-life stuff is good. I appreciate people that do the pro-life stuff. But the thing about that is that it's like, if you've seen recent events about like where people who are doing pro-life stuff go out and like when they're interacting with the people who are vehemently not pro-life, especially since this has come up huge in the last week or two, right? With this leaked court thing. Have you noticed the enraged, literally foaming at the mouth furor of the people that you're engaging with in these situations, in these videos? And there's plenty of videos out there. Okay, do any of these people at all look like they have the use of the faculty of reasoning? No. I mean, these people are energized by another force, okay? That does not mean that they can't be saved. God can save anybody, sure. But Paul talks about in his letters a period when there's a certain point at which you become insensate. You lose discernment and any sensation to good and evil, to the point where you are given over. Now, granted, it's not our position to individually judge. We can't see when individuals have been completely given over. We don't know that. But we can tell by people's actions and modus operandi whether they are energized by evil, for sure. And if somebody is completely energized by evil, then there's not really much point in trying to reason with a person like that. And that's why I think as a person gets older, you start to realize, who I interact with and reason with and who I spend my time with is valuable to me. And I'm not going to spend my time reasoning with people that I can see are not reasonable, you see. And so I'm going to choose my battles. I'm not going to waste my time trying to convince someone who is completely insane, completely retardo, completely irrational. It's a complete waste of time. And I think as you get older, you gain some wisdom and insight into who to associate with, who to spend that time on. And it is possible to surrender your reasoning. Paul talks about that. I just don't see I'm support the people that do pro-life things, but I don't see the purpose in consistently engaging and trying to like do man on the street scenarios of like to convince people. because people have surrendered their we're past the point of reasoning. People have they're not reasonable anymore. So there's no point in doing those things, from my view. That's why I don't engage in man on the street stuff or whatever, or it just seems futile. And people have, not everybody, but a lot of people have. It's almost like it's down the middle. Doesn't it seem like that? Like, it seems like the country, the church, everything's kind of split down the middle of like halfway awake to awake, and then just completely insane. Is the like there's like half of the country is in completely insane, and the other half is like awake to halfway awake. And the same in the church.